Instagram up here so that those of you who are watching on the platform that is not Instagram can absolutely positively check out the IG. My IG is the real Boyce Watkins. So I'm gonna put this on the screen. So let me see here. All right. Let's see. Good morning. Good morning, D Cold Stone. How are you? Do you invest in DBG? I don't know what DBG is. I'm sorry. Why do you hate black men? I don't. I've been a black man my whole life now. Let's see here. Hey, Marcia, how are you? Do you think the government will ever give us anything for Tulsa that we've gone through? I think that with Tulsa, it's very important to know that Tulsa was not the only time there was a Black Wall Street. Last night, we showed a film called Resurrecting Black Wall Street, The Blueprint. That's a film that we made, a film directed by Dorian Chandler. It was made by my film production company. And basically, one of the key points of that film was to make sure that you understand that that Black Wall Street wasn't the only time this happened, and to make sure that in this conversation, we don't get overly caught up in symbolism. Symbolism will get you in trouble. That'll give you a problem. Let me see here. Let me scroll down here. Are you going to apologize to Kwame? There's nothing to apologize for. He doesn't have to apologize to me. Maybe his opinion is different from mine, but it is what it is. I've been pro-Black for 25 years, and I've been very consistent for a long time. So I was here before the Kwame thing happened. I'm going to be here after, and that's just what it is. What do you think of pharmaceutical companies? Pharmaceutical companies are very risky. They have what is called jump risk, where they can easily jump from $30 a share to 10 because of the results of a clinical trial. So pharmaceutical companies have a lot of potential. You can make fast money, but you got to be really careful because bad things can happen and come out of that. Do you think the government? Let's see the next stop. What stocks will the South China port blockage affect? I don't even know anything about the South China port blockage. I haven't had a chance to read up on it. My apologies. Can you put all your crypto investments in crypto for us? I wouldn't put all my money into crypto ever. But if you want to see the crypto that I own, you can actually go to drboycecrypto.com. I made that list available. So you can go to drboycecrypto.com and somebody type in drboycecrypto.com and you can actually see the crypto that I've invested in. And it's made a ton of money. And at the end of the day, I want you guys to make money because you're listening to me. I'm not here to entertain you or to make you laugh or to do whatever. I mean, sure, there's motivation that comes with this. But at the end of the day, I want your life better. I want you to be able to say, if you can't say my life is better because I've been listening to Dr. Boyce, then I haven't done my job, right? Because there's too many Black people out here just entertaining you, telling you jokes, getting you pissed off, doing rah-rah Black power stuff. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to my goal is not to become internet famous. I'm trying to actually make a difference. And for the people that want me to make a difference, for those who don't care, then, fuck them. Let's see. Can we all get in on uranium miners early? I don't do much investment in uranium, so I am not qualified to really talk on that topic. So my apologies. Do you know anything about the AMP coin? No, I do not. I haven't heard about that one. Do you mine crypto or just invest? I mostly just invest. I buy crypto and I invest in a lot of companies. Like I invest with ARK Investing with Kathy Wood, where she has a lot of cutting edge, innovative, technological stuff that she invests in. So I think that's really cool. Let's see here. Let's see. Somebody said nobody cares. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. Have you heard about Crypto Safe Moon? I haven't heard about Safe. I heard the name, but I don't know much about Safe Moon. So that part I'm not. But we do our crypto investing masterclass every Tuesday. You can actually go to cryptoinvestingmasterclass.com to learn more, and I can ask them about Safe Moon, but I don't know much about it. Let's see here. Please look into RECAF and give an opinion. Yeah, I don't know anything about that either. What's up, Doc? Can you break down the ways to get into the real estate through the stock market? Yes. Real estate investment trusts, REITs, REITs, allow you to own property without actually having to be a landlord. So I like real estate investment trusts. I'm not real big on becoming a landlord. I don't like changing people's toilets at 2:00 in the morning and dealing with property and all too much of that. I have some property, but I don't want to be like a real estate magnet where I've got all this, real estate everywhere. That's not of interest to me because I'd rather have something that's a little bit less time consuming as an investment, in my view. It's no disrespect on real estate though. Let's see here. Yolanda says, Sherry, if you were intelligent, you would have knew what he meant. Well, let's not make fun of Sherry. But when I say this platform is for intelligent Black people, I'm not talking about people that are already intelligent or people that are educated. I don't care about how much education you have. I know a lot of educated idiots. When I say intelligent Black people, I'm talking about people that are at least intelligent enough to know that they want to be more intelligent. So even if you're not that smart, even if you don't know a lot of stuff, the fact that if you have the right value system, then that's what I care about, right? It's like, even if you're overweight, if you at least appreciate eating health food, then we can work together. But if you're overweight and you're determined to eat more Popeye's chicken and chocolate chip cookies, then we're not the same, right? So I don't know what to do with that type of energy. So basically, when I say the platform for intelligent Black people, I'm talking about people that just want to do better. We have too much ignorance being promoted in our community, too much ridiculousness, chaos, division, retardation, basically being pushed to you. And we embrace that. Like, we embrace it like unhealthy soul food, and people live off toxicity. And I don't want to be around toxic people. I don't know about y'all, but is not fun for me. So if we can't find a bridge to grow and build, then I don't want to engage you. What's the point? What? So I can go to war with you and the white man at the same time? I'm not trying to do that. I get better things to do. Kathy Wood is not profitable. Don't forget, Kathy Wood is not a short-term investor, though. Kathy Wood is a 5-10 year investor. So Kathy Wood's investments are things that you're not going to know the results of her moves for another 5 or 10 years. She invests in industries that are going to expected to explode in the next 5 or 10 years. She ain't looking at the next quarter. And that's one thing I actually like about this lady. She invests the way the Chinese invest. The Chinese are thinking 10, 20, 30, 50 years ahead. That's why they're so powerful now, because they think across generations. And I try to get Black people to kind of understand this. The reason America is going to fail is because you have politicians that are only thinking up to the next election. You have, corporations that are only thinking up to the next quarter. Nobody's thinking like what's going to happen in this country 50 years from now, 100 years from now. So when I talk to you guys about Project 2070, which is my plan for the Black community over the next 50 years, I'm really trying to have a longer term vision to encourage you to help you understand that there's nothing you can't do if you give yourself enough time. If you give yourself enough time, then you can make your grandkids into billionaires. Like, literally, I'm not kidding. Like, if you just have to have time. You have to have a strategy that you apply over time. And the reason that a lot of people fail and don't get wealth and power is because they're thinking like, well, how do I get all that in 2 weeks? Well, you can't get the shit in 2 weeks. Like, it takes time. It takes time. So wealthy people think across generations. They're not thinking till they get paid next Friday. Just got paid Friday night. Like, I'll run out with my money and act a fool. No, they're thinking like, how am I going to make sure my grandchildren are good? That's how those billionaire families, sort of operate. So anyway, what don't you like about Kevin Samuels when he speaks truth? I like Kevin Samuels actually in the sense that he's very logical. I just wish that we could find a way as men to understand that we can be as masculine as we want to be without having to beat up Black women. Sometimes when I hear people talk, and I'm not putting this on Kevin, because you can't control how your followers react to your message, because sometimes people take it too far. But I don't watch a lot of videos on YouTube, to be honest with you. Even all the videos, like the stuff that Kwame does about me, I have not watched one of those videos, not one of them. I'll get people to say, oh, you saw he did the video about you. But no, I was with my kids. I was investing. I was doing productive shit. I don't sit and just, if I can't figure out how my life will be better from watching your video, then I'm not going to watch it. It's no disrespect. It's just, I just don't do that. So the thing is, you can't control how your followers are going to react to what you say. But every time I would see like the headline of the video, there would be like, pay attention. Like, there's an image of a Black woman, and it's like, this modern woman thinks she's too good for Black men, or this is why modern women don't succeed. This is why, this woman, this baby mama with 3 kids thinks that she can get a high value man. And I'm like, I wouldn't pick titles like that. Right. I'm kind of like, can't you make here's a legitimate point to me. A legitimate point is to say that there are a lot of Black women, not all of them, not the ones here, because I think the ones that here are a little bit different, but there's a lot of women who feel like they're above criticism. Right. Now, that point I agree with. I think that if you think your shit don't stink, then you're not going to be good for anybody. Literally, if you think that you're so perfect that anybody who says, you could do this a little bit better, that somehow they're hating on you. It's like I went through that with the Lizzo conversation where I said, do you think it's really good in a community to promote obesity in a community that's dying from obesity? And then suddenly everybody twisted my words. And that's what happens a lot. That becomes very frustrating when people twist what you say and make it into something else. And they're like, well, you were attacking Lizzo. I said, no, I made it very clear I'm not attacking Lizzo. I said that 85,000 times, but your motherfucking ass wasn't listening because you are so determined to misconstrue what I'm saying. this was not even about Lizzo, really. It's about white people's industries. It's about these racist industries that will have a black woman out here looking like a damn fool, so that she can convince black people and other people that being obese is a good thing, that that's as good as being healthy. I don't believe that. And remember, right after that happened, I know I was right. The reason I know I was 100% correct is because right after that, COVID hit. And next thing you know, what's happening? Black people are dropping like flies because of obesity. And I said, see, this is the type of shit that happens when you don't think about your health. There's nothing wrong with being overweight. I've been overweight before, but never once did my woman ever make me think that being overweight was a good thing. She's like, you're in your 40s. Like, people your age can have strokes and heart attacks and everything else. You need to work on that, right? So I just personally think that that there are people who think that they're above criticism. I think that's okay. But when you get to the point where you're bashing people in, like you're going to die alone because you're not listening to me, I'm not really sure how helpful that is. You got some lady in there that's 38. There's a lot of black women I know who are good women who tried their best, who are maybe 38, 40 years old, who just for whatever reason, it hasn't worked out. They don't have a husband. Maybe they don't get to have kids. Maybe a lot of women, maybe they get cervical cancer or something from experiences that they had with men 10, 15 years ago. So that man done moved on. He done got married. He's doing whatever. You're still in a place where maybe you would rather not be. I have a heart for that. I really do. Call it simping if you fucking want. I give zero fucks what you think because I care about black women. I care about the community, right? I want people to be happy. I want your life to be better. So basically, the reason that woman isn't married isn't always because she's just a shitty woman or a terrible person. It's because statistically speaking, this is real data and information for intelligent people. This is for people that want information, not just your feelings. But studies show, The Economist wrote an entire article where they basically explained, this is white people doing this analysis now. They basically said that the African-American community has an imbalance between the number of marriable women and the number of marriable men. So you have a lot of black women that got master's degrees and PhDs and JDs and making $100,000 a year. And a lot of the men just haven't kept up for various reasons, starting with the fact that you send all your kids to these damn public schools where this white lady from the suburbs alienates them at an early age. And then next thing you know, this little kid's growing up thinking he wants to be a basketball player, a rapper, or a thug. Most black women don't do that. You won't go into a classroom full of little black girls and say, what do you want to be when you grow up? Where 60% of them will say, I want to be a professional football player, right? Or I want to be a professional stripper, right? You don't have that. You don't have the majority of them saying that. You might have two little girls who are disturbed who might say they want to be a stripper, but most of those girls are saying, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a whatever. And the boys are like, oh, I'm going to be in the NFL. Yo, dumb man, your ass ain't gonna be no fucking NFL. 99.9% of the best basketball and football players in the fucking black community never make a penny playing basketball, playing football. So what happens? So the little black boy grows up. I'm gonna get back to your question. So if you have a question, I missed it, you can put it back in here again. This is me breaking it down for you in terms of what I see. So the little black boy and the little black girl both grow up. They're both 7. She says she wants to be an accountant or a lawyer. He says, I want to be a football player. So he grows up, he gets caught up in the sports culture. He starts putting more time into his sports than his academics. And he's but he's also caught up in the other trappings of the culture, the women, the weed, the liquor, and just whatever, right? Because I saw this from the athletes. They had a different kind of culture that I didn't think was really all that healthy. So he gets to about like 17, 18 when he starts realizing he's not good enough to get a college scholarship, but he doesn't even know how to read at grade level. The little girl, she been making good grades. That again, the little girl that's supposed to marry the little boy, she been making good grades. She ain't sitting around thinking I'm gonna be in the NBA so I don't have to study. Little girls don't do that, right? Typically, it's very rare. So by the time they get about 26, 27, unfortunately, a lot of these guys give me a yes in the chat if you know a guy like this, where he put all his energy into sports. He wasn't good enough. He wasn't going to be the next LeBron because your ass is 5'9". You're not going to be a fucking LeBron James. You're 5'9", right? But he put all his energy into playing sports in high school. All he can talk about in his 20s and 30s is how he was all city or whatever in Des Moines, Iowa, or like Wichita, Kansas, right? And he's just not at that level with the woman. But also remember, there's a culture that comes with sports too, where sometimes, not all guys, not all of them, but some of them get caught in the culture where you've got, just in the stream of women that you're just kind of messing around with. So you might have some babies mamas come out of it, some STDs come out of that, all that stuff. Also, you got the liquor and the weed and just whatever, right? So maybe he could be an alcoholic or he could be a drug addict or whatever. And then also, he never really put that time, that same energy into academics that he put into sports. So because of that, his income level is down here. Maybe he's struggling. Maybe he's he's hiding from the system because he can't afford to pay all the child support for all the babies mamas he's accumulated. So he's coming in at 28, 29 years old with baggage, like major baggage and major problems and major issues, right? So as quick as you have guys that are quick to criticize a single mother because she has 2 or 3 kids at 30 years old or whatever. And I'm not here to say that's a good or bad thing. It's up to you to make that decision. It's interesting that we don't also have the same critique for all the men. And I'm not making fun of them because I understand it. But men that have baggage too. If you are a woman who has, you think about it, you done did everything right. You 30 years old, you got 800 credit score. You done put, 150 grand in your 401k. You have a good job with a good firm. You're making $88,000 a year, and you went and got your master's degree. And then you meet the dude that you used to have a crush on in high school, who spent all his time accumulating babies mamas and has so much child support he can't afford to pay it. So you're not getting a whole man, you're getting a piece of man. Tiny from T.I.'s wife used to call it piece of man. You ain't getting a whole man, you get a piece of him because all these other people are taking bites out of his income, right? So you're not getting a whole income, you're getting a piece of a tiny income. And then also maybe he comes in with other baggage in terms of the weed and the liquor and all the other things, again, that come with the culture. And then on top of that, he's just maybe not that smart, right? He hasn't, again, because he's smart at basketball. Like he can watch, he'll watch ESPN and he can break down why the Lakers are going to beat the Denver Nuggets, right? Like you got guys that can analyze sports as if almost like they're getting a paycheck from the NBA, which they're not, right? And I'm not making fun of that. I like sports too, but sports is like extra. Sports is something I do when I'm not doing my grown man shit, right? Sports is like I play video games. I play Xbox, for God's sake. I mean, do you know how many people like make jokes about how immature it is? I play Xbox, and I just tell them like the reason I have the right to be as immature as I fucking want to be is because I've handled all my grown man shit. I made millions of dollars for my woman, and I'm like, baby, all the bills are paid, the kids are taken care of, the family's good. Now I'm gonna go over here and kick it, right? I don't kick it before I handle my business, right? So I think that in general, you just have an imbalance there, right? So I think that all those conversations need to be had instead of it being like, because I make a lot of money, I'm clearly a high value man, and which means I'm devoid of any accountability. And I'm not saying that this is what a Kevin would say, because I know it's more nuanced than this. But I told you I don't have time to sit around and watch a bunch of YouTube videos. I just don't. But it's like. It's like okay, making your money, okay, what other factors really make you a quality person to be in a relationship with? Like, can you give me a list of like maybe 6 or 7 things, 5 or 6 things, right? And then also this idea of saying that because this woman has children, she is lower value, she's lower quality. Because being a stepdaddy's for suckers, right? Which is ironic because a lot of men would not be who they are if it wasn't for some man who stepped in and replaced your father, right? Whether it was your football coach, your basketball coach, the guy at the community center, the guy, Mr. Wilson across the street who gave a fuck about you when you were 9 years old about to get into some bullshit, right? So this idea that somehow being there for the children in the community is bad. That's a culture I don't want to be a part of. I don't want to be a part of any of that. That is not Black culture. Black culture is about the village stepping up for the children. This other culture it comes from Black exploitation. Actually, when people think about this, you got a lot of Black men who look up to pimps, right? Like they'll be like, oh, well, I'm not a simp, I'm a pimp. Right? Like the sort of diametric opposite of quote unquote being a simp is being a pimp, right? So the simp is a guy who says, baby, I love you. I love this woman. This is my wife. I'm gonna defend my wife, whatever, right? So that means you're a simp, I guess. And then the pimp is like, okay, you want to be a pimp. So the pimp is the guy who says, bitch, I'm gonna slap the shit out of you if you don't get on the corner in your miniskirt and make me money. I'm gonna keep you on drugs. I'm going to rape you. I'm going to set you up to be raped by other men. I have no respect for you. I give zero shits about you, right? So again, remember, the women you're pimping, these are your mothers. These are the women that gave birth to you. So you literally are pimping your mother when you disrespect women on that level. And what made you who taught you to honor the pimp over the quality men in your community? Who taught you to do that? Well, you learned that from white owned Hollywood. Pay attention now. Intelligent people are going to get it. Like idiots are not going to get it. So just know if you're here to troll, like just know you're going to be ignored because intelligent Black people are the ones who are going to control the future anyway. Your kids will be working for our kids. Period. Like that's just what it's going to be. So Fuck you and the horse you rode in on. Let's just make that clear. But the thing is that, who taught you to honor the pimps? It was white people in Hollywood. They made these blaxploitation movies where you see this long-legged pimp with the big furry hat and the big mink coat, like, bitch, you better sit down, ho. And somehow you're like, oh, wow. Like, it might not have been you. It might have been your daddy or something, right? They watched this. My father talks about this, how they will watch these pimp movies and really be looking up to pimps. That's how much mind control they have over you. I don't know if it's dominant in the white culture to look up to pimps. I don't know if Asian men look up to pimps. I don't know. You can tell me. I don't know. Do Jewish men look up to pimps and say, "Oh, that's what I really want to be"? No, they don't. But you do, because you'll say, "What's up, pimping?" Or, "Oh man, that's pimping," right? I don't want to be a pimp. I don't want to be a pimp. I don't want to be a nigga. I don't want to be none of that shit. We use the N-word all the time. They think just weird things that we do that I just can't co-sign on ever. I'm not going to do anymore. I want to be smarter than that. It's like we will call each other the N-word over and over and over again. And then we get super offended when a white person says it, when they're literally calling you exactly what you called yourself. And then you'd be like, you called me a nigger, right? And then they're like, no, I didn't call you a nigger. I called you a nigger. I used the A, bro. I used the A. You're still mad, right? Why are you mad? If he uses the A, then it should be okay because you use the A, right? Well, I don't want the A. I don't want the ER. I don't want none of that, right? And so I personally think that there's got to be like this little pocket of our community where we say, let's really examine ourselves and look at the areas where we might be a little bit hypocritical, and in the area, because we're clearly failing. Like as a community, we're clearly not achieving our goals. We're clearly existing in a way where wealth gaps are growing, education gaps are growing. Our kids are not where they want to be. Little boys getting shot in the street, all kinds of stuff. And so something's not right. Like something's not working. So here's the thing. This is why I made a conscious decision to say, because I'm always trying to evolve. Just so you know, the person you're hearing now is not the same guy that you heard 2 years ago, even, because I'm always trying to say, okay, how do you do that? How do I do this more effectively? How do I really hit the sweet spot on this? And one thing I realized a while back is I said, I got to be careful. If I start getting too popular, then that's a problem. If I get too popular, then that means I'm not doing my job, because a person that's truly like an objective judge and teacher is not there for a popularity contest. Your teacher should not be the person that you just think is the greatest person in the world, because sometimes your teacher needs to jump in your shit. Like your mama or your father or the person that is mentoring you on any level is not supposed to be one of your little friends. They're not supposed to sit down and smoke weed with your homies in the basement. Yeah, a lot of y'all knew the cool parents who would smoke weed with the kids in the basement. Their kids grew up and became drug addicts, right? Because mom was smoking weed with us, so we might as well do it together, right? Or it must be okay. And I realized that because our culture is failing, if I fit into that culture too much and I'm doing too many of the things that other people are doing, then I'm not really doing my job. So I really actually realized, I said, being popular is not as important as trying to be powerful. Powerful means that whether you love me or hate me, you're going to hear what I'm saying, because that there's some truth to what I'm saying. When I get, because I get the trolls from the Kevin Samuels crowd who are like, oh, you're a simp, you're a stepdaddy, whatever. And then I hate the Kwame stuff. I see stuff like mama's cooking or whatever, which, yeah, whatever. And, okay, yeah, mama's cooking. Well, daddy's over here building. So mama's in the kitchen cooking, daddy's building. So I don't want to be mama. I want to be daddy. So whatever, right? So I hear all that, but it's like, good. You're pissed off because that some of what you're doing is you're riding on bullshit. That as a culture that you need to be checked on that. That's why you're talking about the things that I'm saying, because if what I said was not relevant, you would not take the time to come over and troll and be pissed off, because you have been convinced, again, through no thinking of your own, you've been convinced that somehow, because I said something that was uncool and unpopular, and because Kwame said it, that somehow that's what you're saying. Because you'll be amazed if you saw the comments, you would notice that there's a pattern. They'll use the same language, they'll use the same words. And when you start saying exactly what the last person said, that right there tells me we're not the same. You're not a critical thinker. Your thought is not your own thought. You're saying that, so you're mad because you think I dissed Kwame on a video. Well, smart people, the smartest people are the ones who reached out and said, wait, I watched that video. You weren't dissing him. You weren't dissing him at all. You were being very polite. And I'm like, yeah, actually I was. It's just people didn't see the video. They just heard Kwame's interpretation of the video. And that's what led them to have this conclusion. But again, everybody's not really there. And it's okay. Like, it's okay that, I'm not trying to be popular. I'm not trying to be cool. I'm not trying to make you laugh. I don't want you to feel like, oh yeah, that was lit. Oh no, that's mama's cooking. Okay, you can have that. That's entertainment. I don't want to do that. I actually want to sit back and say, how do we do the work to make ourselves better? And I can tell you, for those that want to be successful in life in general, that want to overcome their obstacles, that self-analysis is absolutely essential for you to ever have a chance to achieve your goals. You got to do that. Okay. So anyway, let me see here. What's up, Doc? I made money listening to you. Good, man. Good. Anybody else who's made money listening to me or listen to this podcast, say something in the chat, because I'm very happy for you. Let's see here. Mbest, thank you for your donation. Now it says 1,000. That's 1,000 yen. I don't know how much 1,000 yen is. I haven't done the translation, but it looks like a lot of money. So I appreciate it. I appreciate the support. Thank you for your contributions to the Black community. I listen to you and Dr. Anderson every day in Japan. Well, that's really cool, man. That's great. Let's see here. Next question. What about Forex? I don't like Forex as much because it's harder to make money in Forex. It's very easy to make money in the stock market. Forex is a lot more complex, and it's a lot harder to make like that consistent money where you're making money every month or every year all the time. The stock market is like shooting fish in a barrel. But then again, maybe it's because that's what I did my dissertation on. That's what I studied through most of my PhD program. My area of expertise was investor psychology and something called asset pricing. And asset pricing is basically mathematical equations to help you understand where stock prices come from. Right? Or not just stock prices, though. You can actually price any asset in the universe. Like you could price an asteroid. Like remember, part of the reason white people are trying to get to space is because there's a lot of precious metals in space. There's a lot of money to be made in space, not just from space tourism and all that, or being the first to settle on Mars. But some of these asteroids are like you have asteroids flowing through space that are like made of diamonds and stuff. So they're like, if we can figure out how to get to those asteroids and mine those diamonds or whatever, then we'll be the richest people on the block. So that's kind of what, so even an asteroid could be priced through asset pricing. Did you just get married? No honeymoon? Yeah, I did just get married. We're doing a honeymoon that's like literally a 3-month honeymoon. We want to do a cross-country drive because I've always wanted to take a cross-country drive with the girl of my dreams. And Alicia literally was the most beautiful woman I ever saw in my life from the time I met her. I in my 20s, I wasn't ready to get married. In my 30s, I wasn't ready to get married. But she married somebody else, which was fine because I was her friend at the time. In my 40s, I was like, okay. I've done some things. I'm okay. Like I feel comfortable financially. Like that's why I say when you see me getting married, don't think like if you're 28, remember I'm going to be 50. So we're in different spaces in life. So don't be like, okay, since Boyce is getting married, that means getting married is a good thing. It has to be the right situation, the right person. You got to be at the right stage in your life where you're comfortable with it. Now, if you're comfortable getting married in your 20s, make sure you get some help. Like get you a therapist, get you some people that can help you negotiate your conflicts, because that's what kills a lot of relationships. Because if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. Because if you don't do it right, then it's going to cost you a lot of money. It's going to cost you a lot of pain. It's very uncomfortable. So get help. That's my biggest advice to any young person that has a relationship. Because sometimes you could be in a relationship where you love the shit out of somebody, but you just don't know how to make it work. Like you just don't know. Like every time we talk, they just make me mad and blah, blah, blah. Well, there's tools you can have on how to communicate with another person instead of saying, well, F you, because you don't agree with me. You must be stupid and crazy. Because I'm telling you, also, when you throw in things like the internet, where you've got these divergent opinions all over the place, and you bring that into your house and into your bedroom, that will cause conflicts too. If you are a black woman and you marry a black man who swears by everything Kevin Samuel says, and he says, well, Kevin Samuel says that a man marrying a baby's mama is bad, or whatever people say. I don't know. I just hear the stepdaddy talk, whatever comes over there. And then let's say the woman has a child and she's like, well, fuck you. Like I got a baby. I love my baby, but that doesn't make me a low quality person. Can I have other factors that matter as opposed to just you judging me by the fact that I don't judge you and your baby's mama. So why are you judging me? The fact me and my son, that can cause a problem. And then next thing you know, people's feelings are hurt and all that. So I think in general, when you go in your personal life, in your personal relationship, in your personal business, if you bring any information from anybody that you saw online, including me, into your life, make sure it is healthy information. Make sure it's something that's truly going to make you a better person and help you reach your goals. Don't bring that toxic shit in there, because some of that shit's just entertainment. Some of it is people simply fueling pre-existing conditions that are in the Black community, pre-existing mental health conditions. So they're fueling the anger that a lot of Black women have at black men because their daddy was never there when they were growing up. They're fueling the anger a lot of black men have because maybe they have a mommy issue, or maybe they're mad at their baby's mom was because she wouldn't let them see the kids. They fuel that. And toxic people, when a group of toxic people say we love you, you got to be careful, because sometimes they love you because you're feeding them toxicity. It's like, why would if you have a group of morbidly obese people who are like, oh, I love your cooking. Well, maybe it's because you dump a pound of sugar and another pound of butter in every batch of fried chicken that you cook. And they're like, oh my God, this food is so good. But that food is also killing them. So that's the paradox of toxicity, is that the more toxic you are, the more you enjoy toxicity, right? It's because being healthy is hard work. It takes hard work to grow. Who the fuck wants to grow when you can just sit and have somebody congratulate you for being a piece of shit, right? And telling you that it's okay and it's not your fault, and that's it. Can you please speak on Grant Cardone's concept of buying where you live? I haven't heard that particular concept. Grant Cardone is this white guy who's very rich, and he's very smart, and he's a good salesperson. And Grant Cardone, I know one area we disagreed was he said something about buying a house. He said buying homes is like buying a residential home is a bad idea no matter what. And I don't like what's the word? Simple-minded answers to questions like that, like where you just say it's always a bad idea, always bad. No, I don't believe that. I think things are more nuanced. I think I know I own a house and I'm happy we own it, right? Now, is that the most economically efficient way to allocate my wealth? Maybe not. Maybe there's something else I could have done, but it makes me happy. Like I got a big 2,000 square foot basement that is the perfect man cave. In this basement, I have my big office that I work in. I have a kitchen area. I have an area I play my Xbox. I have a spare bedroom for guests, but also I use that to take a nap. I can lock the door or shut the door and get away from the distractions of family and kids and all that, so I can focus on doing stuff like this, and it makes me happy. It's not how much money you make. The thing about money you got to understand is that once you get enough money, your personality is gonna change a little bit, like not in a bad way, hopefully. Like if you're an asshole when you're broke, you're gonna be a bigger asshole when you get money, but because money makes you more of what you already are. But what money can also do is it can take you to a different avenue of self-reflection, because most of us grew up only doing things for money. Like you got up and you went to work every day because you needed the money. You couldn't afford to stay in the bed all day. You couldn't afford to sit at home and watch Netflix all day. What happens in your life? How do you make how do your choices differ when you don't have to go to work anymore, or you don't have to get out of bed? You got enough money in the bank account, so you're not motivated by another $1,000 today, another $2,000 today. That creates a whole nother dilemma where you've got to kind of take some time to do some deep reflection to figure out, like, who am I and what do I really want? Because for so long, but see, most people don't really even know what their purpose is. They haven't even had time to think about it because they're too busy pursuing the purposes that were given to them by somebody else, right? So you look at it, think about it. People that don't really think about their life and who they are and what makes them happy, they get to a certain age, they start doing what everyone else does, right? It's like, okay, I went to college. Now I'm going to meet somebody. I'm going to get married. We're going to have kids. Then I'm going to get a job. So between the job and the kids, that's what occupies 70-80% of your life. And then when those people get older and they become empty nesters, where they got enough money and the kids are gone, they're just depressed. They're just kind of lost. They don't know who they are anymore, or your marriage is over and your kids are out of the house. So you're trying to figure out who you really are, what you actually like. Like I've literally seen people where you ask them, like, what do you like? Like even sexually, like I was stunned a long time ago. I asked a woman that I knew, I said, what do you like sexually? She's like, I don't know. I never thought about it. And I honestly think that in that particular case, she had spent so much time thinking about how to please her man that she never thought about what that looks like when a man's trying to please her, right? And I think that that's kind of a metaphor for life too. I think a lot of people don't know who they are and what really matters to them. Their purpose is handed to them. So when you get more money, you got to figure out, like, okay, what's going to make me happy now? Because money won't do it anymore, right? So you got to kind of process all that, and that's how you, I think, live the fullest and best life that you possibly can. Because I know a lot of rich people who are very unhappy. So with Grant Cardone, just circling back with that, he wanted to come on my channel. I told him no. I think I said to him, I said, well, I know why you want to come on the channel, because you love going on black people's channels so you can get more people for whatever you're doing. And I said, okay, let's do an exchange. I'll come on your channel, you come on mine. And they didn't want to do that. So I said, well, you're not better than me just because you're white, just because you're white and you got more money than me. So, no, if you don't treat me like an equal, I don't want to talk to you. So, and no disrespect to him though. He's a smart guy. It's just, I'm not impressed because you're rich and white. I'm an HR professional listening to learn from you. Hey, Pam, everybody say hi to Pam. Let's see here. You got me on course to bomb the future for my sons to live their best life, says Raphael. Good for you, man. Good for you. Yeah, parents have a lot of power. Don't waste your power. Do not waste your power. Every word you say is gold. Every move you make is going to have a lasting legacy on your family for many generations to come. Do not underestimate that power. Make sure you embrace that and use that to the fullest extent. Let's see here. Let's see. Boyce, why did you put your love life on the internet? You're getting killed for it. I'm not getting killed. Words don't kill people. So what when you say I'm getting killed, did someone put a knife through my chest? Did someone shoot me in the head? Like, did I die? No. Like that's funny. That's another funny thing about the internet. People will be like, oh, he roasted you. Oh, he murdered him. He killed him. No, he didn't. He got on the internet and he started talking. And the problem with a lot of black people is because black people are not used to having power, is you think that talking is the same as actually doing something. You think talking is action. Talking is not action. Talking is just words. In some cases, it's just entertainment. So, because pay attention. I was doing this thing before Kwame and Kevin and all this other stuff happened. 10 years ago, I was doing this. I'm doing it now. I'm doing exactly every day the exact same thing I was doing before. So when you say getting killed for it, sometimes it's a cleansing process. I don't really want to be popular amongst nigga-minded people anyway. So, sometimes you got to draw a line in the sand on certain issues so that certain people will self-select themselves out of the process anyway, right? So if you say, well, because Boyce said something, I'm not going to follow him no more, then good riddance. Like, please go. Like, this is obviously not a good place for you. You're not happy here. Go over there. They're going to say lots of great things that are going to make you feel better. And I wish you the very best. But I'm not here. I'm not interested in trying to be popular. I don't make the bulk of my money by talking on the internet. I do it as a public service to people that want to do better. I'm really trying to be the lone voice in the woods that comes to you in a way that hopefully is intellectual, that is logical, that is hopefully empowering. And I really want to give an encouragement to the other aliens that are out here. And when I say alien, I'm talking about black people who feel like you're born on the wrong planet. Like all those black people, those of you who are scared to say what you really think because it's not popular, or who are sort of feeling like under this pressure because you don't fit into one of these stupid little camps, right? Because you're not a drone. You're not going to follow somebody because they're a demagogue who says, I'm the most highly sought after, I'm the most popular scholar. I'm King Kong consciousness. And you're like, that sound like a crazy motherfucker. Like, I get that, right? I get that. It does. It's like, really? Like, are you that self-absorbed that you really are going to spend the whole hour telling me how you're better than me? Really? Like wait, you really think it's okay, like, for you to say you're pro-black, but you're calling black people the N-word in every other sentence, right? Or wait, you really saying that a woman that has a child is a low-value woman? Like, isn't there more to the conversation than that? I'm for people like that. I'm for people that just are like, some of this is stupid, and most people don't fit in that category. Again, remember, you're in the middle of a bunch of chaotic bullshit. You're in the middle of a community that's very divided, that's very toxic, that is not succeeding. The wealth is drained out the window. Education ain't that high. People are getting on the internet for entertainment. Very few people get on the entertainment, or excuse me, on the internet to grow. They're not getting on the internet to actually figure out, like, how do I actually win? How do I actually succeed in life? So with stuff like that happens, it's like, it doesn't really fucking matter. Like in my life, I learned a long time ago. I became famous for the first time when I was 25 years old. When I was 25, I used to write articles on the University of Kentucky campus. Those who really know me from way back in the way back remember that, because on that campus, I got my first taste of of something that was a lot like internet fame. It wasn't fame, but on that campus, I literally had to wear my hat down and wear sunglasses so people would not recognize me, because everybody would stop me. They would either tell me how much they loved me or tell me how much they hated me, because I would write these articles about racism. I would just say what was on my mind, and white people hated my guts. I would literally get death threats, and the black people thought I was the greatest thing in the world until I said something they didn't want to hear. Then suddenly it's like, oh, you're selling out, man. I'm like, wait a minute, wait. Last week you told me that you love me, and this week you told me that I'm a piece of shit. So what you learn, so you go crazy when you're young and you're sucking all this up. You're like, look at me. Everybody's paying attention to me. This is so great. Then you're like, these motherfuckers don't give a fuck about you. Only a small select group of people are going to be really, truly ride or die and truly ready to go with you wherever you go and accept that and love you unconditionally. Most people like you because you are giving them something they need at that moment, or something that they want. Like, they want to hear you say something in a certain way. And the conflict for that for me was, I can't do that. I'm a scholar. Scholars are critical thinkers. Good scholars are supposed to seek truth no matter where it lies. You know, I admire, when I look at like white people, I admire, for example, I admire Einstein, because Einstein was in Nazi Germany speaking against Hitler. Hitler was very popular. Hitler was the biggest thing in the world. Everybody loved Hitler, you know, but Einstein was like, this ain't right. Like, this is fucked up. Like, this dude is crazy, right? And people are, oh, you selling out. I used to like you. I used to follow you, but no, you ain't nothing, man. I think you a piece of, okay, that's fine. But that's a point where the rubber meets the road. That's where the line's being drawn in the sand. And that's where you get an opportunity to cleanse and filter. I made a clear decision to say that I had to figure out, like, who am I? What kind of person am I? Because I wasn't real patient enough to deal with like whole lot of ignorance. I don't have that patience. I'm not that guy. I'm not a bridge builder. I'm not Barack Obama. I'm not going to go and sit down with somebody who's determined to be ignorant and be patient enough to let them convince me that somehow their ignorance is as valid as the things that we need to actually do. I'm the person who's like, come on, let's go. Let's get this shit together. The solution's over there. Let's go get it. Let's go get it. And if you don't want to go get it with me, then you can go somewhere else. Maybe there's a better solution somewhere else for you. I think that's perfectly fine. But I am not offended at all if you don't go with me. Because if this is true for anybody that if you do stuff online and you get a little bit of a following or whatever, make sure you know the difference. Make sure you know who you are and where you stand. And you're going to have to stand there, even if it's raining in the spot that you're standing on, right? So I know this. I know that if you love Kwame Brown, because Kwame told you for whatever reason that he thinks I'm a piece of shit, if you love Kwame, chances are you don't like me. And I can identify you in a minute, because you'll come in and you say the exact same thing the last person, mama's cooking, or you got roasted by Kwame. Okay, yeah, whatever, right? Fine. I'm not here to impress Kwame Brown. I didn't know that motherfucker 2 weeks ago. Like, I knew him as a basketball player who played for the Wizards. I didn't even care that they called him a bust. I didn't pay fucking attention at all. I'm sure he's doing great. He made millions of dollars from the NBA. I never got millions of dollars from white people money. I don't know what that feels like. I wish I had that kind of money, and I'm hoping he's doing good things with it. And I hope that whole experience is positive for black people. Good luck with that. But at the end of the day, this idea that somehow being popular is more important than being correct, that's a mental illness. That is a reflection of black people's frustration with the fact that we don't ever feel heard. We want to be validated. We desperately need to be, we grow up desperately needing to be validated. So when you see people, and I've seen it 1,000 times, I've helped people become internet famous. I put them out there. I pay attention now, pay attention. Most people that have big platforms don't share their platforms. They're not as stupid as I am, right? They don't, Tariq, I don't think Tariq Nasheed is like, I don't think you're gonna go to his channel and see some woman that you've never seen before doing her thing, saying what she wants to say or whatever, right? And it's not a diss on that at all. I'm not saying that at all, right? I like Tariq. I support his movie. I support everything he's doing. I've mentioned many times, I think he's the Steven Spielberg of the black community, because he's creating a whole movie industry, and I'm inspired by it. I think it's wonderful. I love it to death. But most people don't share their platforms. I've been criticized for that. I've been criticized specifically for sharing my platform with women, because some of these women were fucked up people, right? And I just didn't know it. I was like, okay, well, do your thing. I'm not going to tell you what to say. Do your thing. So some of them turn out great. Like Vicky Dillard is awesome. God bless her. Love her to death. But then there's some, with that decided that they hated me after I spent 2 years helping them out, right? Or whatever, right? So that doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, it's like, my thinking was that my platform isn't just for me to sit here and tell you how great I am. My platform is not for me to tell you I'm King Kong consciousness and I'm the greatest scholar known to man and that I'm better than you. My platform is designed to create spaces where people can just be better than they were before. And this is like a deeper kind of way of looking at things, I think, that isn't going to relate to probably 80-90% of all people. The trapping of the fact that I've been reading lots and lots of books and thinking deeply about things for 20, 30 years. I'm not 25 years old. I'm now almost 50. The trap of that is that it's a lonely space. When you really are a deep thinker and you're really trying to really solve some shit and really go deep, you come to these insights that don't make sense to anybody else because they haven't done that level of thinking about that same problem. And it's not me being better than anyone else. Anybody can do it, I believe, if they really put their mind to it. But remember, I got a PhD 20 years ago. I was damn smart when I got my PhD. Like top 1% of the population gets a PhD. And I was a top PhD student. I wasn't just a mediocre student either. But that was 20 years ago. I'm probably 3 times smarter now than I was 20 years ago. So some stuff I say just ain't gonna make no damn sense. So what happens is that I'll say some shit and, 80% of the people are gonna be like, that's stupid, that's crazy, that's whatever. And I'll be like, yeah, I used to think that was crazy too, but here's what I figured out. So what happens is you either have people that trust you or people that don't. People that are, consistent, that are sticking with you, or people that are kind of, not sure, like maybe a little shifty, fly by night. Like, I'm here because I thought you were funny last week and popular, but now I don't like you anymore. And that's fine. And what you have to do is in that space where you're kind of like by yourself, you have to just stand on that. Like, just stand on that shit. Like, because at the end of the day, it's not like the internet is something that transforms my life. What matters in my life are basic things. Talking to my woman every day, because she's real. She's physical. I see her, I touch her, I kiss her, we hold each other, like we're close together, right? Being with my kids. My kids are real. My happiness is real. The internet is this place where people get together and they just all share opinions, and then sometimes they fight, right? And I think that you don't want to take it too seriously, because if you do, it probably could drive you crazy. So if you ever get a chance to have a following or whatever, don't let that following own you. You can't let those people own you, because then what'll happen is they'll put you in a little prison where you will feel that the only way you will get likes and shares and validation is if you say what they want you to, what they want to hear. And then you'll be scared to be honest, because you'll be like, well, gosh, if I'm honest, they're gonna be mean to me. They're gonna say bad things about me. No, you gotta know who you are, man, and stick with that. That's my philosophy. It's my perspective, and that's what it is. Let's see here. Let's see. Stephanie says, what can I start investing in with $1,000? I would start with a mutual fund or an ETF. Those are good ways to get instant diversification. Let's see. You said the top 1% elite ? No, when I say top 1%, first of all, only 1% of the population gets a PhD. Like, that's a fact. But when I talk about the Black elite, I'm not talking about formal education, because I know a lot of educated idiots. Also, I'm not talking about wealth, because wealth is a symptom of your thinking. It's not so much the definer of whether or not you're a quality person or not. I'm really talking about the top 1% or the Black elite in terms of people that are devoted to building the community, who are really ready to do all the work necessary to see our families break generational curses and become better people in the end. That's what I'm talking about. When I talk about that talented 10th, that Black elite, that's what I'm referring to. This is not an elitist kind of concept. And I know sometimes people are tempted to put me in the elitist category, because I guess there's like this weird anti-intellectualism where it's like, because you have a PhD, you must be a sellout. You must be in the get along gang, or whatever terms people use. And it's fine that people think that, but anybody who's kind of paid attention will know that, if anything, I mean, the challenge of being where I am is that this is why it's not built for just everybody. You got to be built a certain way to deal with all that. But I'm hated by white people. White people don't give me anything. Like, white people don't write checks for me. There's no corporation. There's no government agency. There's nobody. I get none of that money, none of that support from white people. And then you got 80% of Black people that may decide, like, fuck you, like, I don't care about you. So it's that little 20% that are open to hearing what I have to say, even if they don't agree, that are going to put the words into action, that are deeply committed to a different vision for the future. Those are the people that I get up and do this for every day. Those are the ones that I'm talking to. I kid you not. I literally, in my mind, I already know 80% of my own community is going to listen to me and say, I don't like that guy, or he's a jerk, or he's too whatever. Like I know about a lot of my flaws, but it's just who I am. It's period. Let's see here. You can't please them all. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Absolutely. That's a good way to look at it. It's the people that really get you that matter. And the people outside of that group, you can't spend your time worried about those people. All right. So let's see here. Why didn't you just DM him instead of throwing out there like that? If you're talking about Kwame, I never dissed Kwame. It was his interpretation of a diss. DMing him, I know people say that because you're repeating what he said. Again, that tells me you're not really a critical thinker because you're just repeating what he said in his video. Like if Kwame has said, man, Boyce is great. I love Dr. Boyce. He's with Dr. Claude Anderson. He's with Judge Joe Brown. That's my guy. Then you will be saying, yeah, Dr. Boyce, I love you. You're my guy. But because he interpreted what I did in a certain way, you're interpreting it that same way, which says to me that you're not my type of people because I don't believe in being a follower. I want to breed leaders. I want to breed people that can come up to their own conclusion without sort of feeling like my conclusion has to be his conclusion because I like his videos. Like that doesn't make any sense. Let's see here. So I didn't throw anything out there like that. I just simply made somebody asked me a question. I responded. That's it. Period. So that's what it is. Let's see here. Christopher, you're doing an awesome job. Thank you, Christopher. Mark Wiggins, thoughts on stacking dividend stocks in your portfolio? Dividend stocks are good. The hard part about dividends is that it's hard to make a lot of money from dividends because you have to have a lot of stock to get a decent amount of money, like an amount that you can live off of. Selling stock options is actually a great way to make income, especially companies like AMC. Like it's like they're throwing money out there. Like literally, you know what it is? AMC reminds me of, how the strippers get excited when the ballers come through the door and they know that these guys like take pride in how much money they throw away at the strip club. And so the strippers are like, girl, there's some ballers out here. They're in the VIP, and they get all excited and they all run and they look high heels, like they all running to go because they're like, it's going to be money, right? Like there's money everywhere. Right. And so with these meme stocks, there's just so much money there. Like I sell stock options and I make so much money just selling the options because I'll just buy some stock and I'll be like, I'll just keep selling the options every week. Like to all the people that are excited and think AMC's going to the moon. Okay. Yeah. AMC's going to the moon. Yeah. Here's some options. You can buy these options. And it's not exploitation because that's what they want to do. But really the problem though, is that they're paying too much for those options. They're making the savage mistake of getting emotionally tied to a company. A capitalist entity cannot love you back. They're like politicians. Some of y'all fall in love with politicians. Do not fall in love with a politician. Politicians are wired to take advantage of your affection. They're like, yeah, I love you too. Okay, now give me your money, give me your votes, and I'm giving you nothing back except my pretend, my fake love. I'll give you back fake love. Right. And that's what AMC is doing. AMC is playing along. They're like, okay, well, these people are crazy enough to give us $1 billion for nothing, for a terrible company. Okay. Yeah. We love you too. Yeah. We're apes. AMC to the moon. Yeah, bro. They don't believe any of that crap. Capitalism ain't got no heart. So you got to just understand, when you see these things happening, again, I believe that it's just like a lot of it's just like poker. I told you I love poker because it's a great game of psychology, strategy, and math. And in poker, you got the sharks, you got the fish, and you got the donkeys. The fish are the people that don't know how to play. The donkeys are the people that are stupid and stubborn, that are determined to hold their hand no matter what. And then the sharks are the people that can identify the fish and the donkeys. And the people that get exploited the most are the donkey fish. So if you don't know what's going on, but yet you're stubborn about what you think is true, like you're a stubborn fish, like I don't know shit, but I'm real determined to stick to my beliefs, even if there's nothing factual that's supporting what I believe, then a shark will eat you up. They will eat you up. I've won tournaments with over 1,000 people. Like I'm really good at poker. I'm not a gambler, but I love poker. And you just sit there and you're like, okay, I got a donkey fish. He wants to be the bully. He wants to be, he wants to throw out the big bets, and because he thinks that his mask, he's sitting there with his liquor and his cigar, and he's like, I'm a man. I'm betting another 500. You like, and so you see it, you just kind of laugh. You're like, okay, oh wow, oh man, that's That's a big bet. Ooh, but you coming hard today, right? You just kind of go along with it. Next thing you know, your chips are up here and his dumb ass is sitting over there broke. So don't be a donkey fish. Like, don't get caught up in all these manias and like, like, oh, AMC to the moon, bro. Like, don't do that. Like, just invest rationally and move your chips accordingly and make your money based on whatever environment's out there. Financial literacy is critical for you to know how to do that. So don't be a donkey fish, or the sharks will eat you up. Let's see here. A couple more questions. Let's see here. Let's see. Somebody said, Julie says, Dr. Watkins, thank you for enlightening our community about the challenges we face, while at the same time advising us on how to make money. Many individuals like myself did not have family members who had wealth and knew how to make money outside of going to work. I'm so tired of the self-hate in our community where intelligence is frowned upon and feared. I have a degree, but the university did not teach me how to make money. Please continue to deliver your powerful messages. Yeah, that's a great note for us to finish in terms of the last part of this conversation. Is I really think that, a lot of us got duped a little bit. It makes no sense that we went through all those years of high school. Some of us even went to college, and they never taught us anything about what it means to be a Black wealth builder. You can read a book, you guys know I swear by Powernomics, Dr. Claude Anderson's book. You can read a book like this, and this book will teach you more about being a productive, economically effective, and efficient Black person than anything you ever learned in college or anything. And so as a college professor, I kind of understood the game. I figured the game out a little bit. With the public school system, it's more of an indoctrination process that it's very politically oriented. And it's also designed to control the masses, not just Black people, but really to control the masses. Public schools were created primarily as part of the Industrial Revolution so that parents could come to work. The goal of the capitalist system was to always get more workers and to get more people to commit themselves to this idea that you're supposed to spend more time at your job than you spend with your own family. So in order to do that, they said, let's create these spaces where they can drop off their kids so they'll be free to come to work. So then these schools, which are really just these political animals, are designed to kind of indoctrinate you into believing certain things. Most importantly, believing that your job as a human being, your number one job is to serve the capitalist system. Karl Marx pointed this out. He's a Marxist, and I'm not so much of a Marxist in its entirety, but I completely value and respect some of the good ideas that come out of Marxism. Marxism is not completely wrong, right? I'm just not a Marxist, but I get it. And so, anyway, with these schools, they're really kind of preparing you to sit down, take orders, follow instructions, and live within a certain structure so that you will be prepared to be a good worker later on down the line. And also, this other stuff, like, why don't we teach financial literacy or teach this and teach that? You're thinking about this under the assumption that they actually give a shit about you being a healthy, happy, productive adult. You got to figure that out on your own. This is designed to teach you how to fit into a system, right? So that's why you have like civics class where you learn, like Barack Obama and Michelle Obama actually right now are teaching like doing a civics show on Netflix where they're teaching people how to vote, right? Right? Not how to get something for your vote, but just kind of like how to vote and how to be a good citizen, right? And that's partly okay. It's just that it's not going to give you everything you need to kind of position yourself to be successful and be powerful, because then what happens is when it comes to Black people, it's like a doubling down on the oppression, because Black folks are kind of at the bottom of the barrel of society. So really, the public school system is kind of just this terrible place of horrible indoctrination, where you are indoctrinated into white supremacy, you're indoctrinated into capitalism. So you're pulled into this economic model where white people kind of are at the top protecting their resources, and you're being used as a resource. And then you go to college, and in college, it becomes a double whammy, because first thing you do is you go deep in debt, right? An amount of debt that you can never repay. Half of all Black college graduates never repay their student loans. So that means that they have bad credit. They're economically ruined in a lot of cases. And it's because you tried to do better. So you thought the best way to become economically free was for you to borrow more money than you could ever possibly repay. That's not the path. That's not the right move all the time. But then also when you're in college, if you pay attention, they're not really teaching you the kinds of things that I would want to teach you if you were my students. I'd say, okay, you're Black. You got to own things because you got to get away from this white supremacist system. So let's talk about building systems. Let's talk about building businesses. Let's talk about developing our own school. Like, what does it really mean to build a school? Like, what do you really need? You need books. You need a room. You need a curriculum, right? That's kind of all you need. That's what your ancestors had when they left slavery. They built their own schools. They got a raggedy room with a bunch of books and a bunch of kids, and boom, it was on and popping. And so, I think that if you compare that, for example, to what you really might learn in college, the whole time is spent teaching you really how to be a good employee. That's it. The only exceptions might be maybe elite schools where they have a lot of wealthy kids that come to those schools, and their parents got wealthy by being captains of industry, by shaping and manifesting the economic realities they wanted to see. So they're coming in, they're like, well, my dad was the CEO of the company. My dad was the founder of the company. So they're coming in with a different mindset. So as a result, the universities at Yale, Yale and Harvard will teach you differently than you will be taught at, the University of Texas or something, which is preparing you to become an employee. Well, where's that come from? Well, when I was at Indiana University with Alicia, that's where we met. We go there every year, like as a pilgrimage, just to kind of go back to where we first met and, have that experience again, because it was one of the most significant experiences of my life. We were there, and I saw this. I was in the business school, and I saw this sign that said, this building, and it was like $100 million building. This building was donated by Eli Whitney or something. And I was like, why would Eli Whitney give away $100 million to build a building on campus? Well, it's because they made an agreement with the university simultaneously for the university to train their workers. They're like, look, in order for our capitalism to work, for our shareholders to get the massive wealth that they desire, we need people to go do the work, right? We're not going to do it. So we need you to train people who will be taught to believe that they should be happy that we came through and offered them a job, and then it works, right? You're accepting your position in the lower rung of the ladder, and you're accepting the fact that I have this position that is a little bit more empowered than you. That's going to lead to me having a lot more wealth than you, right? So what happens is that when somebody says, I want to jump the fence, and actually I want to be up here too, they just have to understand that requires a different set of skills. Like it takes probably the same amount of skill to be a boss that it does to be a worker in terms of the training. And so the way I train my kids is I train them from the top down, not from the bottom up. So we don't talk about getting jobs. We actually talk about creating companies and creating your own job. But there's obviously trade-offs that come with that. But ultimately, one thing I don't want them to do is I don't want them to sort of be herded through the system and to be taught what everybody else is being taught. Because as you can see, the system mass produces millions of people that kind of think the same way. And that's not the solution for Black people. Like, this system was not designed for you to have any sort of significant power anywhere, right? So in order for you to have that power, you got to detach and learn a whole new set of skills. And that's why I wish HBCUs would have their students read books like Powernomics. I wish HBCUs, if they really were trying to do what was right for the Black community, they would produce as many captains of industry as they produce employees. Like you have 1 for 1 in terms of the number of pure entrepreneurs and investors to the number of people that are going to go get a corporate job somewhere, so that at least people have a choice on where they want to be on the spectrum. So there's nothing wrong with working for other people, but there is something wrong with working for other people if you're Black. Because working for other people, if you're white, means that you get to go work for another white person who's going to understand you and get you, and they're maybe going to give you an opportunity to take over the company after they're done. But if you work for other people and you're Black, you don't get that same opportunity. You don't fit in the same way. And also, the residual benefits of that labor are not really pouring into your community. They're pouring into somebody else's community. So you're kind of the hired help. You're the resource where they're sucking the lifeblood out of you so that they can fuel and feed something else and someone else. And that is unfortunately driven by a lack of understanding of the entire ecosystem, in terms of you understanding, like, okay, when I give this labor, who's going to benefit? When I spend this money, who's going to benefit? And then at the same time, that's why you see that you have other communities. If you go to white suburbs, they're prospering, they're booming, they're building, $100 million buildings. But then you go back to your hood, which has been the subject of a complete total drain, an economic drain, a brain drain. Everything's drained. So you think about like a human body. You've got one body that's full and bulky and healthy and well-fed and muscular, right? And then the other body is scrawny and disabled and broken down and turning into dust. Well, that's because This one had the life sucked out of it, and all that went into the other person's body, right? So all the life gets sucked out of your community, and it gets put into the economic body of white America, and that's why they prosper. And a lot of your community kind of just, turns into dust. So don't do that. You gotta feed the other guy too, like let him eat too. So that's my 2 cents. That's what I believe, and that's what I'm sticking with. I stand on that. All right. So have a good day, everybody. I'm out of here. This was a fun conversation. It's a little bit different from what we normally do. Actually, I'm gonna go over to the Black Financial Channel now, and I'm literally gonna do my regular financial podcast. But I just wanted to kind of just talk to you guys and say hi and have a broader conversation because it's a Friday and I just don't give a fuck. So have a good day, everybody. And if you want to come into the financial conversation, just go to theblackfinancialchannel.com. I'm going to put the URL on the screen. And anybody who wants to come over there and join me right now, feel free to do that. I'm literally about to go over there right now this morning. There's the URL, theblackfinancialchannel.com. I'll see you guys. Have a good night or good day. Peace.